The Fragile Dawn, a Fleeting Hope. Saturday, May 24, 2025. A rare light pierced the gloom of war. Russia and Ukraine conducted a significant prisoner exchange. 307 souls from each side were returned. They stepped back onto home soil. The exchange occurred at the border with Belarus. It was a place often associated with tension. Yet, on this day, it witnessed a moment of fragile humanity. Families waited. Nations watched. This was not just any exchange, it was the largest in over 3 years of brutal conflict. The scale itself whispered of possibility, perhaps a thaw, perhaps a step towards something more. The air was thick with cautious optimism. Each returning soldier, each civilian was a testament to a small victory. The fragile hope did not last the day. It shattered as night fell over Ukraine. Mere hours after the last prisoner crossed the border, Russia launched a massive assault. The target was Kiev, the heart of Ukraine. The message was unmistakable. The gesture of peace was over. The war was brutally, emphatically back on. 14 ballistic missiles screamed towards the capital. Alongside them, a swarm. 250 Shahed drones filled the night sky. These Iranian-made drones are a grim signature of Russia's aerial campaigns. They are slow, but numerous. They are designed to overwhelm defenses. The darkness was ripped apart by explosions. The night air filled with the roar of engines. The hum of drones became a soundtrack of fear. The brief interlude of hope was extinguished. Kiev endured a night of terror. The city, a symbol of Ukrainian resilience, once again found itself under direct fire. Air raid sirens wailed for over 7 long hours. Families huddled in shelters, they gathered in basements, they prayed in metro stations converted into makeshift bunkers. Sleep was impossible, fear was pervasive. This was the reality for millions. The physical toll became apparent as dawn broke. At least 15 people were reported injured. Each number represents a life disrupted. Buildings bore the fresh wounds of impact. Debris littered the streets, windows were shattered. The attack was not surgical, it was a broad assault on a civilian population center. The psychological impact is harder to quantify, but it is immense. Life in Kyiv and across Ukraine continues under this constant threat. The attack served as a brutal reminder. The timing of this assault is deeply disturbing. It is profoundly cynical. Russia engaged in a significant act of de-escalation. The prisoner exchange was a positive step. It suggested a willingness to engage. It hinted at a recognition of shared humanity. Then within hours, this massive bombardment. This is not accidental. This is not a coincidence. This is a deliberate juxtaposition. What message does Russia intend to send with such contradictory actions? Perhaps it is a display of power. To show that it can extend an olive branch with one hand and wield a sword with the other, simultaneously, without hesitation. It suggests that acts of diplomacy are not constraints on its military operations. They are merely another tool in its arsenal. The cruelty is in the calculation. Section 5. The Kremlin's Calculus, a strategy of contradiction. Russia's motives behind this jarring sequence demand careful analysis. This is more than just random aggression. It appears to be a calculated strategy, a strategy of contradiction. By blending diplomacy with destruction, Moscow seeks to achieve multiple objectives. It is a complex, cynical game. It plays on hope. It thrives on fear. One primary motive is likely psychological warfare. The sudden shift from a hopeful event to a terrifying attack is designed to break Ukrainian morale. It aims to create a sense of despair, to suggest that no matter what happens, Russia can and will continue to strike, that there is no respite, that peace is an illusion. This emotional manipulation weakens resolve. Section 6. Psychological scars. The war on morale. The psychological toll of this war is immense. This latest incident, the barrage following the prisoner swap, cuts particularly deep. It is a direct assault on Ukrainian morale. Imagine the brief joy, the flicker of hope families felt. Then the sirens, the explosions, the return of raw fear. This is not just an attack on infrastructure. It is an attack on the human spirit. It seeks to induce a state of perpetual anxiety. This deliberate creation of emotional whiplash is a known tactic. It is designed to erode resilience. It prevents people from finding stable emotional ground. Section 7. Echoes of the past. Historical patterns of deception. This Russian tactic, blending supposed goodwill with brutal force, is not without historical precedent. It echoes patterns of deception seen in past conflicts, and in Russia's own history of statecraft and warfare. The idea of using peace overtures as a cover for aggressive intent, or as a means to create strategic surprise. This is a well-worn page from the playbook of authoritarian regimes. Consider the Soviet Union's actions in Eastern Europe. Often, periods of détente or seemingly cooperative gestures were followed by crackdowns, or by aggressive moves to consolidate power. History is replete with examples of treaties broken, and of truces used to prepare for the next assault. This strategy aims to disorient an adversary. It creates doubt. It makes it difficult to discern true intentions. Section 8. The unseen battlefield air defense under relentless pressure. The attack on Kiev also highlights the critical role of Ukrainian air defenses, and the immense pressure they are under. Ukrainian forces reported successfully shooting down 6 of the 14 ballistic missiles. They also neutralized an astonishing 245 of the 250 Shahed drones. These numbers speak to the skill and dedication of Ukraine's defenders. They represent countless lives saved. They represent cities shielded from worse destruction. However, the sheer volume of the assault is a cause for grave concern. 14 ballistic missiles and 250 drones in a single wave. This is a significant commitment of resources by Russia. It is designed to saturate defenses, to find weaknesses, to exhaust limited supplies of interceptor missiles. Every successful interception is a victory, but every missile or drone that gets through inflicts damage and terror. Section 9. The Long Shadow Diplomacy Drowned in Destruction. This incident, the prisoner exchange followed by a massive barrage, casts a long shadow. It raises profound questions about the nature of this conflict, and about the prospects for any meaningful resolution. Can diplomacy truly find a foothold when overshadowed by such blatant acts of aggression? When gestures of goodwill are immediately betrayed by missiles and drones, the path forward becomes murkier, the trust deficit widens. Does this mark a new, more cynical phase of Russian tactics? One where diplomatic channels are actively used as components of military deception? It is too soon to say definitively, but it is a deeply troubling development. It suggests a Kremlin that feels emboldened, or perhaps desperate, willing to engage in ever more contradictory and destructive behaviors to achieve its aims. This complicates any effort to de-escalate. The impact on future prisoner exchanges or any peace negotiations will be significant. Ukraine and its partners will approach any Russian overtures with even greater caution, with even deeper skepticism.